Hello. It's our annual post-mortem on the awful fantasy season. Season.
It
That's a
was
good word.
relatively awful considering who won it.
Who did win? What happened? I kind of blacked out at
Objectively,
the end there.
entirely awful.
Oh boy.
Terrible.
Oh boy. Yes, I
Ben, you are
am
excellent
your.
proof that it's better to be lucky than good.
Oh, come on now. That's not fair. I was both good and lucky. Um, I think so.
More
Anyway.
of the latter than the former.
Yep.
Three-time league champion here, Ben, to break
Yeah,
down everything that went wrong for your
fun time.
team because I'm a third-time champion. Hi, guys. I've got Carl and Ryan with me today. I don't know if you could actually see them. I don't know what's happening with this video screen share. Whatever. Let's try. I have no idea. We're just gonna find out when I click done. That's what's gonna happen. Um,
Sounds like a typical Ben video.
Yeah, this is
Perfect.
why I don't make videos anymore. Which,
Guys, it's because you hate us.
yeah, that's exactly it. Anyway, Carl, Ryan, how are you? How are things?
Things are good. Things are good.
I'm doing well also. A little bit upset about how the season ended, but not too upset.
I beat Ben's initial projections of where I was supposed to be at his post draft video. So I'll take that as a win as much as I can. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. I think I did too. I think he had me fourth. So
yeah,
actually,
Yeah.
he's the only one in this video that did not beat his initial projections. So yeah,
that's
Ben, you
true.
suck.
Um,
Actually, I think that there's some sort of shady deal here going on. I mean, he found a way to rig this whole thing. I'm pretty damn sure.
I don't know how, but he clearly did.
Yeah.
guys,
I assume Satan's involved, um, or Santa, whatever. Hard to tell the
Santa,
difference.
yes.
Yeah, something like that. So Ben, lead us off. How would you like to handle this post-mortem of our, unfortunately ended season?
Well, there's a lot of ways that we could go about this. We could highlight, your three-time champion. That's certainly one way that we could go.
One time,
Um,
one time,
I
Ben.
I get more of a kick out of that probably than everybody else. So I realize that's not what everyone is tuning in to see. Um, I figured we've got a few things that we could take a look at, okay? First off, let's talk about the comeback team or teams, plural, of the year. Um, it was a big year. We expanded the playoffs to 8 teams. I feel like that worked out pretty well.
Also expanded the
Definitely
league as
made
well.
things. Well, yeah, we expanded the league as well.
We expanded lots of things.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a big expansion type year. We're like the USFL, but
And I do.
much
I
bigger.
want to give a shout out to those new teams that came in, Shane and Dylan. Um, First year with us, and you both were right there in the thick of things throughout the entire year, and it was fun to
Top,
see.
top four teams at the end of the regular season.
Yep.
Both in the top four, like did quite well. So well done. Don't do it again. Fuck right off.
But being new also means you are not comeback team of the year
No.
because you just got here. So uh, comeback teams, I think it probably goes without saying. Cody's got to be in the discussion. Um, he went from 2 wins last year to 10 wins this year, um, which is, a hell of a thing.
He had more wins this year than he did the first 3 years combined.
Right.
That's a hell of a thing.
So that is a hell of a thing.
Uh, I also really was taken aback by Brent. Um, Brent, kind of a perennial struggle boat occupier, um, kind of stomped on everybody this year throughout the regular season, anyway. Playoffs didn't go quite as well as he'd hoped, but
He beat me 3 times in the season.
Ooh, that hurts.
This is where I want to jump in with a little fun fact here, Ben, about
Fun
Brent.
fact.
Yeah, because so Brent had a heck of a year, and I just want to throw out some little weird numbers for y'all. Brent went over 200 points in 8 games this year, which is pretty fucking good. More importantly, 6 of those 8 went over 240 points. In the entire rest of the league, there were 2 teams that each went one time over 240. 8 games, a team scored 240 points, 240 or more points this year. 6 of them were Brent. Fucking absurd.
And at the end of the year, I mean, he'd outscored everybody, obviously, and he's almost 200 points more than the next team. So, I mean, yeah, that kind of explains the whole bit right there. So
Yep.
hard to say for sure one or the other who the comeback team would be. I just an opportunity to call them both out for really, really like blowing the doors off things. So
Really
hell
excellent
yeah.
season.
Yeah, congrats on not winning everything.
But making a hell of an effort.
Congrats on winning
Yeah.
the regular season.
Yeah. Noted regular season championships.
Okay, guys,
They're,
if anyone
big.
knows that it's me, sometimes it's just all you got.
How about the opposite end of the spectrum? Or maybe that's not the right way to look at things. Um, let's just talk about teams that imploded. Maybe even didn't get off of the launch pad and just blew up on ignition. Um, where do we look at for that?
Well, so you suggested this idea, and I kind of took my own little tangent off of it, and I sort of turned the implosion into a worst collapse and best turnaround for mine. So, start by looking at Joe as one of our worst collapses because he was right in the thick of the playoff hunt until he dropped the last 3 games of the regular season, and ended up as one of the 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty rough collapse as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he was. I know we were nipping at each other's heels for like that 7-8 spot the last couple of weeks of the year. I was. It was a sweat for sure.
It was tight. And then a second team that we'll call it a little bit similar to the collapse, but it didn't work out quite the same way as it's actually um, one of your comeback teams, Cody, who at one point or he had 7 consecutive wins through the most of the end of the season before losing the regular season finale, and then here's the kicker: lost all 3 rounds of the playoffs. Every one of them. But
I think
go ahead.
I was just going to say another team to possibly throw in there would be Matt's team. Looking at the ESPN's power rankings for our league for draft day versus the end of the regular season, Matt was ranked number 1 right after our draft.
Yeah.
Finished dead last
Yep.
at the end of the regular season.
And actually, he ended the regular season on it was just a little bit of a losing streak. 9-game losing streak to end the regular season.
Just a small one.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So that was pretty rough. If we want to look at someone that did a little bit better, started rough and ended a little stronger, and this is really kind of a participation award type of thing right here. Because he still ended up outside of the playoffs, but Mike started the season 1-5, which is just all sorts of ugly.
Yep.
But he did end it at 6-8. So he went, what is that, 5-3 down the stretch?
Yep.
That's not bad.
That's actually, yeah,
mid-season turnaround.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you factor in things like, and I'm sure we'll touch on this momentarily, but some misguided moves like Carson Steele. That's a
Well,
testament to Mike for managing to kind of get that ship back on course. Or maybe not fully turned around, but
well,
at least moving in the
91
right
of
direction.
91 of Mike's free agent bucks went to the combination of Carson Steele and Ryan's 7th round pick. Just thought you'd always enjoy that.
Who did
That's
he?
true.
I forget who he even drafted in that 7th round for that pick.
I was looking the
Was
other
that
day.
Ernest Jones?
Yeah, I was going to say Ernest Jones.
Oh,
Which, let's be real, was that's a pretty good pick. You know,
Yeah, not a terrible pick.
terrible.
Mike had 2 7th round picks. He turned them into Ernest Jones and Roquan Smith.
But was it worth the, what was it, 30 extra
40
fab
free
bucks?
agent bucks. Well, that's for someone else to decide. I don't know that I'd have done it, but
He could have spent all those fab bucks on Jeff Wilson.
He could have.
could have. Or let's see, who are the others? Patrick Taylor and Trey Benson.
So
Yeah.
this a natural segue, I suppose, into the buyer's remorse section of things, where we talk about guys that spent too much money on players that I don't know, not a splash, maybe a whimper. Who knows? So yeah, we talked about Carson Steele. Big Mike spent 61 fab bucks on Carson Steele, which honestly, for a minute, looked like it was going to work out. I think that first game, Carson Steele actually,
He
took a
blew
couple
up.
handoffs and did some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
As we all know,
I just point out the little reminder that when Mike spent $61 on Carson Steele, he had the highest bid. He also had the second highest bid at 40.
it's a good caveat,
He really wanted to make sure he got that player.
Yeah, he's
really
taking
want
out
to be damn sure.
insurance. That's
Because he
good.
didn't just cancel the first one, he doubled up on it.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
exactly. But I digress. It
Now I need to
might
go
be
back
the
and sit
worst.
with
Might be the worst free agent pickup of our league's history.
It's got to be up there.
I think the free agent, currently unsigned to an NFL roster, Kareem Hunt, was a pretty good one too. But outbidding yourself for a player who ended up being nothing
Who picked up that player that wasn't on a roster right away at the beginning of the season last year?
I believe that was Cody.
Yeah.
I think that was Cody picking up Kareem Hunt, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Oh, you remember correctly. There's no.
I don't remember how much he paid for him though, but it was
I
a
thought
lot.
it was 60.
It was a lot.
I think it might have been 60.
I think that's why Big Mike did 61 as a
He
nod
wanted
to the
to
meme.
outdo it.
Yeah, but
Well, if you can't win the league, you might as well win something.
That's right.
Other noteworthy splashes. Let's see. We mentioned Jeff Wilson for $40. Joe, I don't know. I wish we could ask Joe how he felt about Isaiah Likely. $30 on a tight end. That's a tough pill to swallow. But I get it. That week 1 game that Isaiah Likely had, you were hoping that there was something more there, right?
And I think he had at least one more really good game long after everyone dropped him.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Brent spent $30 on a linebacker, Neville Hewitt.
Are we sure that's a linebacker?
I'm pretty sure that's a linebacker.
I think that's a British guy that brings me my tea.
What
the fuck is Neville Hewitt?
Past life.
It sounds like a character out of Harry Potter or something.
Yes. Yeah, that's something.
Neville Hewitt might have put up 6.5 points that week. So there you go.
Well, and I don't quite get the move because it's not like he had been lighting it up for weeks prior to that either.
No. If we could get a points per fantasy auction buck spent. What is that? That's about 5 points per buck. That's pretty good.
That's $5 per point.
Or yeah, five. Yeah, the other way
Yeah.
would be way better. 150-point week. Awesome.
Right?
No wonder he was crushing everybody.
No shit.
Let's see. Where
You know,
else can we go? Oh, hit
lead
me.
on.
Were there any other misguided moves that we wanted to, or buyer's remorse moves that we wanted to take on?
Well, the other one that you had put on there, and I thought we would maybe chit chat about just real brief was Dylan's $50 on Isaac Correndo, or however the fuck
That's
you
right.
pronounce it.
Yep.
And I can see a bit of an argument for maybe misguided. $50 guy that didn't turn out, but ultimately I do kind of feel like that one doesn't really, in my opinion, that one doesn't belong on the list for the mere fact that given the circumstances, end of the season, injuries happen, guy was about to become the number one running back, like clear cut workhorse back for the rest of the year type of projection.
Yep.
It didn't work out for him because he got hurt. But I didn't think he belonged on that list that you put him on.
No,
Benjamin.
that's a pretty good point. I think given the circumstance and especially what was on the line at that point in time, as we're crunch time,
Yeah.
that last week or two into the playoffs. Yeah.
And nothing else available. Like we're at
Right.
that point in the year where if something looks like it could be a league changing type of deal, you spend big on it because nothing else like that's coming out again.
For sure.
It's pretty rare to have that kind of opportunity late in the year, and if you have it, you swing. And this time it didn't work out. Guy got hurt. I mean, what do you do? But I think it was a good swing.
Right. No, 100%. Good call. Good call. So that works to kind of move me into the next one. I called this one misguided moves, which is basically just guys that we maybe gave up on a little too quickly. And trust me, I'm guilty of this a lot too. I get that waiver wire frenzy, a guy sitting on my bench for a couple weeks, he hasn't done anything, I'm moving on. And then, of course, it turns out that was a big mistake. So some players that we saw this season that made the move maybe prematurely, leading off with Tyrone Tracy and Big Mike. I don't know what week Tyrone Tracy eventually came and took over the running back spot. It must have been pretty early in the year, though, right? Let's see. By week 5, Tyrone Tracy had taken over and he put up 130 yards rushing for the Giants. And yeah, he pretty much had a stranglehold on that for the rest of the way. And I think Tyrone Tracy over Carson Steele, or is that a hot take?
Wait, what?
Yes, Tyrone Tracy over Carson Steele
Okay.
all day.
Okay. There you have it. Maybe less of a misguided move. Matt did drop Josh Downs early in the year. Not that Josh Downs blew the whole world up or turned the world on its head, but he ended up probably stringing together like 6 or 7 really good weeks. I think at one point in time he was sitting inside the top 20 wide receivers. So, one that maybe Matt wishes he could have back. Probably my team's MVP on the year, Jaden Daniels, was drafted by Cody and subsequently released by Cody. So thanks for that one. What you gonna do though? That's the thing about hanging on to 2 quarterbacks, especially. Uh, you need to make the space at some point in time or another. So yeah, one man's trash is another man's pressure, I guess. There you go. I cut Keyshawn Nixon. I gave up on that one pretty early on, and Keyshawn Nixon returned the favor by, I think, finishing as DB2 on the season. So uh, I wish I had that one back, but yeah, there you go. Other decent ones that were cut and moved on from: Marvin Mims sat on Joe's team for a while. Again, maybe not a superstar, but he finished the year pretty nicely for Brent's team. Calvin Ridley, I think, also cut by Joe. Uh, he came back and had like a 30-point game at one point in time. I think like maybe the week after Joe cut him, he had like a 30-point game. So that probably stings a little bit. Adam Thielen was cut by Brent's team, and Diane, whatever. Mr. Henry was cut by Dylan, who I think finished the year as a top 10 linebacker. So there you have it. It's rough out there, guys. It's rough in them fantasy free agency streets.
It's true. I'd like to point out Ryan and I aren't on that list. Well done, Ryan. High five.
I almost put Ryan on the list.
Ooh, for who?
Or yeah, for who?
He cut that Jared Goff guy, and I pounced on that Jared Goff landmine. Which
how many
think...
and how many free agent bucks did you put onto that Jared Goff guy?
We looked
like
earlier.
15.
I want to say it was 15.
I'm pretty sure it was like 15, yeah. But I mean, Ryan did kind of languish in the land of, man, I wish I had a quarterback for several weeks until Sam Darnold turned into Sam Darnold.
That is true. And Goff ended the season as the number 6 QB. So that's fair.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, then what do we want to move on to?
What should we move on to? We had a handful of trades that took place.
I wanted to just bring that up because I want to say that this, in the leagues that the three of us have been in together, and a couple of the people in this league have also been in other leagues with us, this has been the best year for trading, I feel. I mean, there was lots of trades happening, and there was even more trade offers going on behind the scenes that, most of us weren't even aware of. And so I want to applaud people for those things, getting out there and making guys available. And for those of us that pulled the trigger on them, I thought that was great. It really adds to what this league is and what fantasy football is all about.
It adds a lot of fun.
It is.
Definitely agree with what you're saying, Ryan. I think we ended up with 5 trades that actually went through, but without having recorded and have any way to double check this. I think that there were probably, for my team alone, probably at least another 10 or so that I either offered or was offered.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously sometimes trade offers aren't going to go through. You're going to have a lot more offers made than actually accepted. But yeah, it felt a lot more active this year in the trade market than it has in the past. And that was excellent. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and I think part of what led Ben to bring this up is that there were some really great trades that happened that benefited both parties involved. And then there was, I know, at least one trade that I was involved in that benefited the person that I traded with a lot more than me. And that brings up a little bit of that remorse that we were talking about in the last segment of, me trading away Devon Achan and Malik Neighbors to Matt to get CMC and George Pickens. Now, I just want to get
Pickens. Get it right. I gave you Pickens.
You gave me Pickens. Sorry.
CMC, Najee Harris, and Khalil Shakir.
Right. Sorry. But anyways, to me, it came down to getting CMC and giving away HN in that moment.
Yeah.
And, last year when I won, it was on the back of Christian McCaffrey. So I swung for it and went for it. And then he ended up getting re-injured, a different injury than he had been dealing with previously. And so, yeah, that was one move. If I could take something back, I would take that move back.
Now, I will say, as I was reviewing the trades that actually happened, for one thing, they were all big. Like I think all of them had at least 5 players involved.
Yep.
Number of them had 6, like three for 3 type of trades. But that one ended up by the end of the season very much looking in Matt's favor, not yours.
Yes.
But at the time, it didn't look too bad. And I don't think any of them looked real bad at the time. And most of them aren't terrible even now. Like, obviously, like you said, CMC gets hurt down the stretch, so he doesn't help you the second half of the season. It hurts. It feels like Matt got the better end of that deal. But like I didn't feel like we've had a couple of trades in the past between you, Ryan, and Cody that Ben and I have had a lot of comments about because it feels like you've taken advantage of Cody's good nature or drunkenness, whichever. I don't feel like there are any trades like that this year. You did even have a trade with Cody.
Yep.
And personally, I feel like you got the edge on it.
It still wasn't a bad trade, though.
But I think it was a pretty fair trade both directions. Like, I would rather have your side than his, but I feel a fair argument could be made for either. I certainly don't think Cody should be embarrassed by this one.
Right.
Which there were times in the past where he should have been, and I hope you were.
Oh, well.
Yeah, right. We did have Ben had one trade as well with Walker. Let's see. I do think I gave that one to Ben. I give the nod to Ben on that one. Josh Downs and Breece Hall from Ben, and he received Dorian Williams, Bucky Irving, and Mike Evans. And certainly this year, that Bucky Irving, Mike Evans worked out better than Downs and Hall.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty close. Like especially since this is a long-term keeper dynasty, whatever type of league, Breece Hall's a good pickup to make. But this year, for sure, I do feel like that one favored Ben a bit.
Yeah, I'm guilty of trying to bury Mike Evans probably for the past 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm still, it's not like I don't look at this and go, sweet, I'll hang on to Mike Evans for another couple of years, because I'm pretty sure Father Time remains undefeated. And even though I guess I don't know if Evans hit 1,000 yards today or not, I know he was like 50 yards away at one point in time.
He was close. I don't know what his stats ended up at.
It sounds like he did. So, but yeah, I just I don't know where I was going with that. Hooray,
He's going to fall someday, but he hasn't yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You make the deals that you have to, because I going forward would probably still prefer Josh Downs over Mike Evans. Especially when you think of putting a contract onto a player. Yeah, that's not something I would be too thrilled about with Mike Evans. So, anyway, there's
Well,
going to
it's
be a little bit of give
to
and
the
take.
point of what our league is. You need to weigh your end result. Do you want to win this year, or do you want to set yourself up for the future? And
Right.
Ben, when you made that trade, you were making a strong push to win this year.
Yeah. In fact, I've been working a similar trade with Walker for many weeks. I think this is probably like the second or third iteration of similar trades with Walker that I've been working on. So, you just kind of got to keep at it. So, hooray. And big thank you to those of you that I made trade offers to that you didn't accept. Like I almost made a trade for Rashi Rice that I missed out on. I think the week he ended up going on IR, which is good. I think I also made a trade offer to Shane to try and get Deontay Johnson. Thank you, Shane, for not accepting that because Deontay Johnson is also in the trash. So
Yeah,
you
utterly
miss,
imploded.
yeah, you miss
That dude might have
some of the
ended his
shots.
career this year.
Right, right. So yeah,
So
trading
again,
is never an
better luck
exact
than good.
science.
Better lucky than good.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Anyway, a lot of fun. And trading's not even over. We've got a whole off season, right? Our
True.
trade window is open, right?
It is.
I don't believe it ever closes.
Yeah. So you know,
I don't know if
We may not
ESPN
be able to officially do it in ESPN, but you guys all have access to the spreadsheet,
Everyone.
to your contract players, to your teams. You can look in there, and yeah, we can make trades in this offseason.
considerations to be made. Yeah.
You can trade the players that are currently on your roster. You can trade picks.
Yep.
It's all an option, and there's now precedent for trading free agent bucks as well. Apparently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's doable.
Apparently.
So, yeah, all sorts of options.
So
And
yeah,
reason
I don't
to
know,
say
guys.
the season's over.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it was
there's a lot more
fun season.
to be
I
like.
mean, I think everybody involved had a good time. I think
Hope
we have a good group of players here in this league, and I want to see that continue.
Oh, it shall.
Yeah, likewise, absolutely. Yeah, I will say just to touch on it real briefly, we're not going to get into it right now. We did spend some time talking about some of our, some of the off-season stuff. Started talking a little bit about when we might do the draft, have contract due dates and whatnot. None of that's set in stone yet, but it's all coming in the fairly near future so that we can start, so everyone can start making plans. We're leaning towards doing the draft, in May again, like we did this past year. Something similar. But we'll spend more time and get a little bit more into that sort of thing, in the coming weeks. For now, we just kind of wanted to bullshit about the season that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know if I really have a lot of any other big takeaways for Fantasy 2024. Any other thoughts?
Ben, earmuffs. So it is the job of all of us in the future to make sure Ben never fucking wins again. All right, guys, get your shit
Hey, wait a
together.
damn minute.
His reign of terror ends right now.
Absolutely.
Best of luck. Best of luck. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, yeah, with communication coming in the next couple of weeks about potential off-season stuff, I think that's about it.
I mean, we'll probably likely do some fun games to help start determining the draft order for next year. We got the college football playoff coming up that we could possibly do something with. We've got the Super Bowl and NFL playoffs that we can do stuff with.
Yep.
So just be paying attention to text messages so that you can know what's going on for some of these fun games that we do in the off season.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's right.
The fun continues for sure.
Never ends.
All right.
Well, all right, guys. It's been fun.
Nice work. Absolutely. Okay, bye.